Challenge accepted. The attitude is always challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. The attitude is always challenge accepted.
And definitely dance on both of us.
Yes, of course.
Oh. And now,
Wow. And now,
ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to our first speaker. Last year he made his debut as a speaker on our stage. This year he opens the whole conference. Every year he is one of our invaluable volunteers, and this year he is also nominated for Death of the Year Award. In a nutshell, Ned is a wild card and jack of all trades.
I just hope next year he doesn't decide to execute sudo make me a conference host. Because I really love this.
Return.
Yes,
Ned is hitting the stage to talk about technical depth in software. Think of it like ignoring updates to your apps. You might not notice it immediately, but it will slow you down in the long run. Catch his talk to stay ahead of the game. Make some noise for Nedelcho Nikolov!
Leave the stage, it's mine.
Okay.
Leave it. Hello everyone. This year I hope that the presentation is going to start from the beginning. There will be no issues with it. But let's see. Do we have a picture? Okay. It's working. Perfect. So, let me introduce myself. I'm Ned. I'm a team lead in Enetpulse. I've been doing this for the last 8 years almost. I've got a bachelor degree in computer science from the Technical University of Gabrovo. Another one, master degree, but didn't finish it. Almost there. And this year I graduated New Bulgarian University with IT project management. So finally I have a master degree. And also I'm dealing with system administration and DevOps, AWS, GCP, Docker, Kubernetes, and all the other buzzwords around the DevOps world. And I have a little bit confession to make. I'm working with PHP. I know. See? I've got a special t-shirt for this, especially for this occasion. And yeah, you can boo me. Go on, I know, no one likes it. But yeah. What can I say? Let's deep dive into technical depth. It's a little bit boring, but I think that I made the change in the beginning, so now you can go to sleep. So, what is technical depth, actually? This is when you have to prioritize something. Instead of delivering it the right way, you have to do it a little bit rushed. You have to speed deliver it. So you're not delivering the perfect code. But it's working. It's okay. At least it looks so. This guy, Ward Cunningham, is the guy that made the phrase exist. He's the one that mentioned it. And since then, it's widely used. This guy actually is, he developed the first wiki, and also he's a co-author of the Manifesto of Agile Software Development. So he's a big guy in the software world. And this is how the technical depth looks like. And this is the actual representation. When you have something like the house you see there, it's hard to implement something. And it takes a lot of time. So, a simple example for this is a library. Usually people use banks, but I prefer to use a library. It looks more natural. And the library is like your code. At first, every book, every piece of code has its own place. Everything is perfectly organized. You search for this model, you know it's over here, it's responsible for this, this controller is over there, it's responsible for this. This helper is going to help you with this. You know how to find it. Everything is nicely structured and easy to find. And it saves time. You need to change something, you go there, change it, bam, you're out. What happens if you rush it? Let's say you have to return the book to the library, but you don't have the time. You have to go, okay, not gonna move so much. You have to go and return the book immediately. You have to do it really, really, really fast. And you go to the library, you put the book somewhere, you don't search for the right place. You don't search for the section that it's supposed to be in it. You're not searching for the author or anything. You just put it somewhere. The first place that you see. You put it there and that's it. It's the same with the code actually. You have to add a piece of code. You see a suitable place. It's not the perfect place, but you're in a rush. You don't have the time to search for the proper place. So you just put it there and hope it's going to work. But what do you have? It's a somewhat organized library. What does it mean? Well, you have the library. Most of the codes or the books are in its place. It's easy to find them. It doesn't take so much time, but if you search for that specific book or that specific piece of code, you're gonna spend such time to search for it, so it's a messy one. And this is the perfect time to start working on your technical depth. This is the time when you should start organizing things. If you start now, it's going to be easy. If you wait, it's going to become a mess. Right now, if you spend some time, let's say in the example with the library, every night the librarian spends 1 hour, not more, 1 hour, just to go and grab the books that are misplaced and put it in the right place. Okay? Put it on the right place, and you have the organized library in the morning again. And it's going to be easy for everyone. It's going to be perfect for most of the people, for all the people. This is the same with the code. If you spend some time now, when you have a little misplaced code, you spend it. It's going to take your time, but at the end you have perfect code. And everything is going to work. But if you don't do this, you have a messy library or a messy code. Then everything is out of order. And with the example of the library, you go there, search for a book, and it's hard to find it because it's not in the proper place, it's not alphabetically ordered, it's somewhere around there. You spent hours searching for a book. And why? If you can spend 5 minutes to find it, why should you spend hours of searching? And that's for one book. I think that now you can get the picture that I showed earlier with the house. It's the same thing. You have this total mess, and you have to find something or add something. And it's really, really hard to do this. So what can I do? What can all of you do? You can dedicate a little time each day to refactor bad code or rush decisions. Well, it's not always easy to do so because not everyone is going to dedicate that time. But at least each couple of days you can do this. Of course, if it's not some project that is really, really, really important to be finished on that deadline and la 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 la, of course, it's hard then. But after that, you can spend that time, and you can spend it this way. Ooh. Okay, so you can fix your code when you do other tasks. What I mean is, you go there, and you see that this piece of code should not be there. Probably someone rushed it. Okay, I see it. It's not a big deal to move it in the proper place. I know where it should go. I take it, put it back in place. I'm going to spend, let's say, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. But at the end, I'll have organized code, and I'm going to finish my work, except that. So it's going to be better than it was. So why not? And the other approach is dedicated sprints for fixing. This is a little bit more tricky because it's hard to convince product and management to dedicate that time, because it's not bringing them money, but it's an important thing. And yeah, it's hard to convince them. When something is not bringing money, it's hard to convince people to dedicate time for it. And actually, I did a reversal of the presentation a couple of days ago at the company, at Enetpulse. And one of my colleagues asked me how exactly how can I speak with the manager to prioritize the technical debt? And it's really dependent of the manager. But there is a common ground there, and that it's numbers. You can give them some examples. If we keep on adding technical debt to the code, a simple task like this, it's going to take, let's say, 5 days, for example. But if the code is okay and everything is in order, the same task is probably going to cost us 1 day. And with numbers, product and management understand you. So I think that this is the common ground there, and this is the way that they're going to understand you. But yeah, as I said, it's not a universal thing, but it's one of the things that I think that it's going to work if you want to ask them to prioritize it. One other way of prioritizing is with this effort impact matrix. So you can categorize the tasks or the debt that you have. So you have which is low effort, high impact, and low impact. So you have quick wins, which is low effort and high impact. You understand why? Because with a little bit of time, you're going to save a lot of headaches in the future. You have the major project, which is high impact, but it's going to cost time. This is a big refactoring that you have to do, for example, some messed up code or some old library that you have to replace or something like this. Then you have the low impact, low effort. It's something that you're not using, you're not changing a lot, it's working, but it's bugging you. But it's going to be an easy fix. It's going to be easy to put it back in order. So it's a time fluence. If you have the time, you can fix it. It's going to help, but it's not a big issue. And the money pit, it's, yeah, high effort, low impact, blah, blah, blah. No one's going to do this. And one important thing, when a deadline is approaching, choose the lesser evil. What I mean by this is, for example, you have a code that you have to deliver by a strict deadline, let's say by the end of the month. So you see that things are not going by smoothly, so you have to do something. It's either you have to go to management or the client and say, I'm not going to be ready on time, we'll have to push the deadline. I know that we have a contract, but yeah, this turned out it's a little bit more complicated. Yeah, no one wants to do this, but if you do this and the client is okay or the management is okay, you have the perfect code that you want. This approach is good, but yeah, you have to deal with the client, and maybe you have to cut your share of the money. The little bit less effort that the little bit better approach actually is just do some of the things, but not all of them. So you will write the code, it's gonna work. You're gonna do, let's say, end-to-end testing, but you're not gonna finish the documentation, you're not gonna finish commenting the code, for example, or something like this. A little bit lesser evil that you can fix later on, but at least you're gonna know that the code is working and you have all the code. So the client is gonna be happy because everything is working, everything is fine. And after you're done with the project, after everything is okay, you can spend the time to invest in the things that you missed. And the worst case scenario is just rush the code. You're gonna do the code, it's gonna work, the client is gonna be happy, but at what cost? You won't have unit testing, you won't have logging, you won't have monitoring. So you have one code on production that you have no idea how it works, if it works, and what's the impact of that code. Because it might be some function that's going in an infinite loop, don't know, and you have no idea. The only way that you are going to know this is if the client is complaining about it, and that's a bad thing. So usually the second option is the best option because you're going to deliver on time. Everyone's going to be happy. You have some monitoring, but not all. And you're going to know it. At least you're going to know if something is wrong with the code. Let's dive deep into examples. Those examples are from our work. I don't know if you see it. Yeah. Some comments. And the last one is actually, it's 2023. It's still in the code, so I think no one wants to touch it. So, we made a video content website. We had no time to waste to make everything perfect. We were a newly formed team, so everyone still had his own style of writing things and his own opinion on everything. And we had to write fast and make it work. We did it on time, but it was not the best thing. After that, we had a few sprints to refactor the code. Actually, we turned something like this. Everything was a mishmash. Everyone used his own style, everything was out of order, and turned it into something like this. Everything was looking the same, it was consistent, and it was nice looking, and you can find something, actually. Because before that, you have no idea how they wrote that, if it's using camel case, kebab case, lowercase, blah, blah case, or something. So now, at least you know how to find it. Another one, a legacy application. It was 15 years old, PHP code, mixed HTML, JS, and PHP files. I don't know how much of you guys have seen this. It's a little bit old-timers way of doing things. It was before the frameworks, and you had one PHP file, and everything goes in. It's really hard to find something, fix something, reorganize something. It had no framework. Outdated PHP version, I think it was 2020, and we were still using 7.3, PHP 7.3, which was already deprecated. We had outdated libraries, no documentation, no tests, and we needed a new design. It was a whole redesign of the whole thing. So when you see this, what you're gonna say? How the, yeah. So, what we did, yeah, here is an example of the code that I was talking about, actually. You see this? Do you think it's easy to read? Do you think it's easy to fix and to change something in that? It's a total mismatch. So, we rewrote the whole thing. It was a hard thing to convince the management to do so. So we had to do a proper explaining why we need to do this and some deadlines for both things. But we managed to convince them to rewrite the whole application. So currently the whole application is running Laravel with everything modern, and it's using a Vue.js front end. So now we are using some new technologies at least. And what we actually did with the technical debt here is this. We destroyed it. And we created a new one, but that's a different story. And this is the different story. It's the same application that we had strict deadline, and we wrote all the essential stuff. We did it with Laravel, as I said. We did it properly, but we didn't have the time to invest on, let's say, for example, tests. Who needs tests? We have QA. He's going to test it. So we didn't have the time to make some proper testing. We didn't have the time to make some proper monitoring. We didn't have the time for making it atomic components in the Vue.js. But it was working. We managed to replace the whole application with the new one, and it was working properly. It didn't crash, so it was working properly. So it was good. Later on, we added the monitoring, proper error handling, tests, and storybook for the components. All the components now are atomic, and we have proper testing and everything. Now we are making all the things that are Cypress for testing on the components and everything. So now it's looking okay, but at first we had the essential stuff. We created a lot of technical debt that we needed to fix, but now we are dedicating time to fix those errors. Now we have the time to actually go through the files, and we have people that are dedicated to repay the debt, and we have people working on the new components, on the new things. So we are fixing and adding new features. That's one of the ways that you can convince also the management, because you're going to produce new features, you're going to produce them fast, and you're actually going to do fixing of the old things. One other thing, one other example. It is a high traffic application I talked about last year on the conference. Actually, the whole case is based on the conference last year. We had no cache, we had high peak traffic, not enough servers, and we had some big events that evening. So the whole thing crashed. And the person that was on call actually managed to find what the reason behind this is, and it was because of the MySQL database that we were using. It was slowing down everything. We had no way to fix this because scaling of MySQL is a little bit complicated. So what we actually did was to find which queries are the ones that are slowing down everything. We saw that those queries are actually executed each time that the person enters the website. So if they watch a couple of videos, they're going to see the same queries executed again and again and again. So we needed a quick fix. And the quick fix that we did was we cached the query results in the PHP session. It's not a good way of doing things. It did the job. Everything was working after that. We had no issues till the end of the day. So on the next day, we added new things in the sprint to do proper caching. Now, after that, we added Redis and so on. So we repaid that technical debt that we accumulated when we fixed it with the PHP session. And there's a nice image representation of this one. Just make it work till we get home. After that, we're gonna fix it. One other example that my colleagues yesterday gave me, not yesterday, a couple of days ago gave me, is with image manipulation app that they're creating right now, or they already created, no idea. They didn't have the time to make it exactly by the book, because of deadlines, of course. What else can it be? So they used big images all over the place, because to make all the thumbnails, all the other things, it's taking some time. It's implementation, it's changes in the code, it's other things. So they did it the fastest way possible. They added the images, they served the images, but well, probably when they tested, they were testing with smaller images, but the user at the end tested it, was working, not testing, was working with images that were 10 megabytes. So imagine a page with, let's say, 50 images with 10 megabytes. Yeah, after that, they actually reserved some time to refactor the whole thing, make thumbnails of the images, lazy loadings, probably gzip and so on. So after that, it was working properly, and it was not a big headache. So, some things that you should take from this. Don't be afraid of technical debt. It's getting messy when you don't keep it strict, when you let it loose. But if you keep it in order, under control, it's your best friend, because you can save some valuable time from it and repay it afterwards. It's actually, here the analogy with the banks is a good one. You go to the bank, you take a credit, you use the money now, you buy a new car, for example, and you repay later. So this is the thing that I had to say. And yeah, make time to repay your debt. Don't lose control of it, because it's getting ugly at the end, and it's really, really ugly. And actually, I have one more example that it's not included in the presentation, because I don't remember it exactly, but we had some servers in our infrastructure that was using way outdated distros because of MySQL version that we had to keep, because of a client that we had a contract that has a replication of the exact same version that we had to keep. So we were keeping something that's not secure, outdated, no way to update, because of a contract with a client. This is one of the things that I think now it's sorted, but I'm not dealing with this anymore, so I have no idea actually. But yeah, this is kind of a deadlock technical debt. There is no way to get over this if you're not asking the client to change anything. Usually they don't cooperate with this, so it's hard. And that was all from me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, now is the time. I'm here, or later on I will be down there on the speaker's corner next to the beer. Unfortunately, there is still no beer, so I'm going to be just next to the beer stand, I guess.
Beer corner.
Beer corner, yeah. They have coffee. They have coffee, so at least coffee.
So do you have any questions for Net? Or if we have some questions in the stream? Well, it seems your caffeine depth is slowing you down and dragging you down. If you have any questions later for Net, you can find him, as he said, to our dedicated speakers corner. Thank you, Net, for being here all
Thank
day
you as well.
and doing so much work. Big applause for Net.